Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com. Another quick week news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 19th, 2018. This is episode number 174 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week comes from Square Enix regarding Final Fantasy XIV. The game held its big fan fest this week in Las Vegas, where they celebrate everything Final Fantasy XIV related, and as expected, they announced the game's third major expansion titled Shadowbringers, which is set to launch in the summer of 2019. We're adding a ton of new content to the game, including an increase in level cap to 80, a new class, the Gunblade, 9 new dungeons, a new world visit system, which lets you visit every server on the data center for free, new story content, and much more. It's a massive update to look forward to, but what's also great is that they announced a new class to look forward to before Shadowbringers goes live. We'll be getting the Blue Mage with the 4.5 update, which will be going live sometime between now and the summer of 2019. If you're a Final Fantasy XIV fan, there's a lot to look forward to with this update, actually a lot more than I just mentioned. I know I'm looking forward to it, and I am quite hyped. And moving right along, some spicy news from Smilegate regarding Lost Ark. And as many of you are already aware, Lost Ark launched this in South Korea in open beta this last week, and it's off to a pretty great start. Smilegate also confirmed that Lost Ark is indeed coming to the West, but didn't lay down a timetable for exactly when that's going to happen, but at least we know for sure there is a Western release in the works. The game took 7 years and $88 million to reach open beta in South Korea so far, making it a massive endeavor. I mean, with an $88 million budget, Lost Ark is one of the most expensive MMOs ever developed. And while China is usually the next release for these big Korean games, we'll be getting Lost Ark in the West before China, thanks to a game approval freeze in the region. So China's loss is actually our gain in North America. While we don't have a release date yet, I suspect we'll be learning more soon. My guess is that Lost Ark launches in the first half of 2019 in North America or Europe, and if not then, we'll at least get a release date by then. Next up, Black Desert Online's Dragon expansion is finally live and introduces more than 300 new quests, new nodes, a new dragon boss, a new region, and more. And to celebrate Dragon's release, the game is also on sale for 50% off on Steam and Humble Bundle until November 19th, meaning it can be purchased for $4.99, which is definitely not bad. Keep in mind though that despite the price tag, Black Desert Online plays a lot like other free-to-play titles, so expect the cash out to provide pretty meaningful advantages to players. As with any big update, there's also a bunch of balance changes, bug fixes, and smaller changes as well. Kakao is also hosting a ton of in-game events to celebrate the update. The game's currently averages a bit over 10,000 players online at a given time on Steam alone, making it one of the more popular MMORPGs on the platform. Up next, Blade & Soul's upcoming Theater of Mystery update, which launched on December 5th, will be adding 2 new dungeons to the game, the Dream Song Theater, a new heroic dungeon, and the Den of Ancients, a solo dungeon. The update also includes new seasonal dungeon leaderboards for those that love running dungeons in a competitive way. As with any big update too, expect a ton of in-game events and other goodies to coincide with the December 5th update. If you never played Blade & Soul, it's worth checking out. Besides Tera and Black Desert Online, it's the only other real persistent world action MMORPG. And speaking of Tera, the game launches Fiery Featherweights update this last week, which finally allows the game's Ellens, the game's objectively cutest race, to play as brawlers. New content-wise, the update also adds a new 5-player dungeon titled Bahar's Sanctum, as well as a new enhancement point system, which allows max-level players to continue their progression. There's also a bunch of leveling events going on to help players reach level 65 quicker too. Anyone who reaches level 65 during the event gets a bunch of in-game cosmetics for free, including an exclusive Ellen outfit. Despite Tera's age, it's still fairly popular. It averages about 900 or so players on Steam alone, likely many more off Steam. And moving right along, Path of Exile's next expansion, titled Betrayal, is set to launch on December 7th, which will consolidate all of the game's major features of this year's updates, including features of the Bestiary, Incursion, and Delve updates, which will all be accessible via a new NPC. The update also brings a much-needed revamp to the game's hideout system, as well as adding new missions, new gear, tweaks to master crafting, new endgame maps, and new skills. Path of Exile has been consistently popular since it first launched back in 2013 or so. The game averages over 15,000 players online at a given time over the last 30 days on Steam alone, and I expect this figure will double once Betrayal launches on December 7th. I think one of the reasons Path of Exile does so well is its fair cash shop. The game doesn't sell any pay-to-win items, which is pretty awesome considering most games don't do that. Next up, EVE Online launches Onslaught expansion this last week, which introduced a new area for players to explore called the Abyssal Dead Space, which is largely a new PvE co-op zone. The update also adds new weapons, technology, blueprints, as well as new upwell navigation structures to the game, which can be used by players to create their own faster-than-light networks. Many of those new blueprints and weapons can be obtained from the new Abyssal Dead Space area. And while EVE has always been mostly a PvP game, it's nice to see some new PvE content being thrown into the game. EVE Online has been out for 15 years now, and it's had 40 expansions to date, and like previous expansions, Onslaught is available for free to everyone. Up next, Bless Online from NeoWiz is launching its latest update on November 21st, just a few days before Thanksgiving, which will add a new dungeon to the game, which players will be able to enter only once per day and must be level 50 to access. The game is also adding 2 new DLCs, Serpent Squire and Dragon's Knight, both of which will be available on Steam for a discount. Both DLCs are basically permanent auto-loading pets, the kind of stuff you've probably heard about in Black Desert Online. Bless currently averages about 1,765 players online at a given time, but number is already down significantly from when it first went free to play, and I expect it'll keep going down. The game was peaking at 4,800 users 1 week after going free to play, but currently peaks at 2,300 users, so it's already lost about half its players since going free to play. And given just how unstable and buggy this one is, I expect it'll keep declining. But hey, at least the game is still getting some new updates. Next up, the previously announced Closers update launched this last week, which focuses on Soma, the game's newest character. Players can now unlock new skills for her and get her special agent promotion upon reaching level 67. And for a limited time, players can also craft a special costume for her. The game also added a new combat zone called Contamination Hell, a 4-stage challenge that players can participate in a limited number of times per day. There's a bunch of other Thanksgiving events live in the game as well. In fact, just about every game now is running Thanksgiving events. It's a small update, but Closers has been releasing a lot of these smaller updates pretty regularly. The game is still quite a bit behind the Korean version though, but that's to be expected. Up next, Star Citizen reached a pretty big milestone this last week. It hit $200 million in funding, making it one of the most expensive games ever developed, and unfortunately, we still don't have any kind of concrete release date, especially for a persistent universe. While I remain skeptical about this one, I'd love to see it succeed. It's remarkable, though, just how much money they've raised from players. It's absolutely mind-boggling, but here's to hoping Star Citizen actually launches, because if it does, and it delivers everything it promised, it would be awesome. But again, I remain skeptical for now. Next up, while WildStar is set to shut down later this month, that hasn't stopped Carbine Studios from publishing new lore pieces about the game on their official website. Ironically, the lore released this week focuses on the game world's creation. Unfortunately for WildStar, that's all coming to an end on November 27th, so if you never played WildStar and want to try it out before it shuts down, you have until the 27th to give it a try. After that, rest in pepperoni, WildStar. Up next, Fallout 76 launched this last week, and while it's not exactly an MMO, it's the first shared world experience from Bethesda, and it's off to an extremely shaky start. The PvP seems like a joke, it's also apparently stupid easy, and worst of all, it's extremely buggy, and the production value seems to be quite lackluster. Player reviews so far are abysmal, sitting at 3.0 on Metacritic with nearly 2,000 player reviews. If you're looking for a survival game experience, skip this one and probably just play Rust or Ark Survival Evolved instead. Personally, just seeing videos about this game made me really want to play Rust again. I've had a lot of fun with that game. Next up, we have an update for an oldie. Wonderland Online from IGG is officially shutting down on January 15th, 2019. This game is an oldie and has been running since 2008. It's one of the few turn-based MMORPGs out there, so it'll be sad to see it go. If you never played this one or even heard of it, I wouldn't be too surprised. Again, it's a super obscure game, but again, it was at least a little bit different with its turn-based approach back in the day. Anyway, rest in pepperoni, Wonderland Online on January 2019. Next and last bit of news this week comes from Nexon, which is launching Square Enix's gacha RPG SinoAlice on mobile in North America. The game is currently out only in Japan, but is making its way over to the West in the near future, and it's kind of cool because Yuko Tara is the game's creative director, who's best known for Nier Automata. Kind of weird though that Square Enix just didn't launch it on their own, and instead chose to partner with Nexon on this one. From the looks of it though, this is just another gacha RPG, but knowing these kinds of games, it'll probably make a fortune. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.